there's still a role for humans, but humans that have AI support. And so the way I think about it is this platform that we're building, it's kind of like an Iron Man suit, right? So if you think about, so I'm going to nerd out a little bit on some sci-fi, but if you think about like all the stuff that Tony Stark can do just as a regular person, he can run across the street and save one person or save two people. But when he puts this suit on, he can save like 100 people, right? And that's kind of the way we think about this platform. We want to empower these local experts who have all this knowledge to do a lot more.
That spark of innovation, it's just waiting for the perfect combination of tools and talent to bring it to life. Welcome to Pitch, Build, Scale. I'm your host, Chris Fanchi, a recovering startup founder, veteran SaaS marketer, turned dev tech enthusiast and growth specialist. Each episode, we connect with the builders, the visionaries, and the problem solvers who are redefining what's possible with today's technology and pioneering the websites, apps, and software products of tomorrow. These are the conversations that transform how we build, how we sell, and how we scale technology businesses in a world where the tech evolves by the minute. Ready to stay ahead of the curve? This is Pitch, Build, Scale. Hello and welcome to today's episode. We have a very exciting guest. For those of you just joining the podcast, we are Big North Marketing and specialize in helping dev shops and SaaS companies scale their revenue. So if you want to learn how to take your SaaS or dev business to the next level, make sure to stick around. And if you're interested in a free growth consultation, just drop us the word growth in the DMs. We are really excited for today's guest. Joining us is Robert Coverdale, the founder of Khonsu, a travel platform that blends AI and human connection to elevate how people experience cities like New York. Robert is a seasoned technologist who spent his career building solutions at the intersection of AI, conversation design, and customer experience, and now he's bringing that experience to the world of hospitality in a whole new way. Robert, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
So I like to start with everyone's background or origin story, if you will. So what first got you into technology?
Wow, that's a great question. That's many, many moons ago. I first got into technology. Actually, a very interesting story. So when I was going to college in my first year, we had to pick a major. And my first year, I went to Rochester Institute of Technology, RIT, which is upstate New York. I was undecided at first, and they forced me to pick a major. And I was between two different programs. I was thinking about computer science, and I was also really passionate about photography at the time. And again, two different spectrums. And at the time, I was like, I'm clueless as to where either path will take me. So I flipped a quarter. That's how I made my decision. I put two magazines on the floor of my mother's living room, and I flipped a quarter, and the quarter landed on the computer magazine. And I said, all right, I guess that's what I'm going to study. And
Wow.
that's been my path.
So have you always wanted to be an entrepreneur, or was that something that came a little later on?
No, that has been in my blood since I was a kid. Even in elementary school, I think my first job I used to sell, I'm going to date myself a little bit, but back when I was in elementary school, we used to have these penny candy stores where you could buy like loose candy for a penny. And so I would go around the house and find like, I don't know, 50 cents in pennies. And then I'd go to the penny candy store and buy some candy. And then and then during lunch, I would sell the candy for 5 cents. I was trying to make some extra money on the side. But yeah, I've always had it. We've always had like a little business. This one just happens to be a little bigger than the other ones, but yeah, I've always been an entrepreneur.
So tell us about a little bit more about your career path. What led you to Khonsu?
Yeah. So before I was doing this, I was working with a great company called LivePerson. I was leading what's called, internally, we used to call it Lighthouse, but it's externally, you can just think about it as like an innovation labs team. And I was acting somewhat as an entrepreneur at the company. We would test ideas, find clients to work through our ideas. Obviously, some failed, but the ones that succeeded did really well. And then I had to become an evangelist and obviously push those out. I really, really liked it. I loved the job. It kind of suited me very well. It tickled all the entrepreneurial bones that I have in my body and really gave me the confidence to see that like I actually know how to build stuff and put it out into the world. And so at a certain point along that journey, there was an aha moment that kind of hit me. Maybe it wasn't an aha, maybe it was like a slow aha, like a slow itch. But as I was traveling around the world. I remember being in London at one point and getting ready for a meeting with a big company. I believe it was Vodafone at the time. And I had this like nagging thing in the back of my head. I'm like, why am I always traveling and I can go to these places, but I can never really take advantage of these cities that I'm in? Like I do my meetings and I go to some random dinner and I go back home and I go home and everyone's like, you're having so much fun. And I'm like, I'm actually not, because I don't get to do anything that I want to do. And it just kind of dawned on me. I was like, why don't I take this technology or these concepts that I'm helping these enterprise brands with and start to build something for the world and build something to solve this problem? And so that's what I did. That's kind of what led me down this path.
So talk a little bit more about Khonsu. What was the original inspiration beyond that? And how did you come up with the idea for melding AI and travel?
Yeah, it's a very interesting journey. I think any entrepreneur will tell you that you never start with a finished product. And so it's all about iterations. My first idea, like a lot of people, I said, well, AI can just solve this. Like I can just build a little AI that can answer all my questions and it'll be great. And that's kind of what the first version of this looked like. I put it out into the world. And really what I started to realize is that while like the tech is there and it works fine, I didn't really understand the industry. I didn't understand travel and hospitality, and I didn't understand really what drives the people's trips, right? People are not taking trips because of the tech. It's the tech facilitates the trip, right? Just a very simple example is Uber, right? Uber's a very big travel company at this point, but people don't call Uber because they want to get in someone else's car. Like you're trying to get to this destination and it helps you get there. Like no one, and even when you think about the app, at least as a writer, the app is super simple, right? It's like, I am here and I need to go there. And all of a sudden a little dot shows up and it gets you. There's nothing, right? There's nothing like super exciting on the writer side. But it gets the job done and it doesn't inconvenience you, and it's very simple to use. And that's kind of what people like. And so as I really started to understand the industry, we kind of changed our model to support what people love, right? And people love simplicity. Some people love something that will solve the problem, not get in the way, and not burden them, and not force them to think. And that's kind of where we are right now, in short.
So how did you go about achieving that? What does the product look like right now?
Lots of failure, Chris. That's that's how you achieve it. So we took it through. We put it out into the world, and actually started to test the idea during the pandemic. That was literally like the very first kind of lab test, if you will. And I remember at the time, like, I'm in New York, and New York at one point was the epicenter for everything in the States, and everything was shut down. But I kept seeing planes in the sky. And so I'm like, wait, someone's coming here. And so I was like, all right, let me just set this thing wild and see what happens. And we wound up getting a lot of requests from travel nurses who were coming to New York. And they were like, I need some help, right? Because I came to New York helping COVID patients all day. I had to bring my kids with me. I need to get them some food. Like, can you help with this? Or I need to switch hotels and I'm in the middle of this thing. Like, help me figure out which hotel to go to. Or it's my day off and I've never been to New York before and I want to take advantage. Like, help me figure out what to do. And so it was really in that state when most travel companies had kind of shut down. So like there was very little noise around, and there was a very strong demand that we started to understand what this model looked like. And so in short, what we did is we reversed the entire system and the platform. And we realized that it's not like people don't want tech, but they want these solutions, and they really value human interaction. And so we kind of changed the platform to support that and said, how do we build something that allows us to deliver human experiences at scale? And Once we kind of started to pull on that thread, then we had to rebuild everything and restructure everything and put it out into the world. But that's it's working for us, and so now we're at the point that now we're just starting to promote it.
Great. So, who is your ideal traveler now, and how are they finding the platform?
Yes. So we do a lot on YouTube. I shouldn't say a lot. Like we just started to really promote it this year, but YouTube has been really good for us. We've also gone down the SEO and SEO avenue, but we just find that YouTube works really well. I think part of that is due to what it looks like in 2025 when there's so much AI content that exists and nobody wants to after the pandemic, Zuckerberg had this idea that we all wanted to like stay inside and live in these goggles, right? And then there was like there was this whole everyone was like, no, get that away from me, I want real life experiences. And so I think that's really the intersection that we're at. People really, no one wants to eat artificial food, they don't want artificial experiences, they want real ones. And so they're looking for ways that we can identify and really connect with those human experiences, and YouTube's a great way, right? We can quickly, even though AI has got much better, God forbid that you take a trip based on like some AI images and not real images of what the destination looks like. That's like the kiss of death for a travel company.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Are you primarily focused on leisure travelers or business travelers right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. We did not differentiate, although the industry itself is so it's 80% leisure, 20% business. And just by that, like when we just put content out into the world, the majority of people that find it are leisure. Although we will occasionally get people that pop in and say, I'm here for a business trip and I want to take advantage. And it's totally fine. It's all the same to us at the end of the day. But yeah, just based on the way that we split, it is 80% leisure, 20% business. I didn't answer your other question as well. I think you asked about like who's our ideal
Hmm.
person, and that's also been a learning experience. That I everyone that's around me kind of has heard this already, but it's really 60% of our customers are women. But I really think that women affect 99% of all purchases, because even when men are the ones that make the purchase and are interacting with us, they're traveling with a wife or with a girlfriend or fiance or a daughter or a mother or someone like that. And when you're in that mindset, you're traveling with someone else that you care about, that you love, and this time is really important. That's when you don't want to screw it up. That's kind of really when the service works very well. Like if you're just taking a trip as a solo guy, if you're taking a trip, you're kind of like, it's okay, I can take it or leave it. I'm not too worried. But when we look across the types of requests that come in as a solo woman, it's a little different, right? Because women have to be a little bit they have to think about security as well. So, even like simple requests, like where's a great bar to go to as two guys, we're just like, take me wherever. I'm open to anything. But as a
Mhm.
woman, they're like, no, no, no. I need a great bar that's going to be safe and it's not going to be awkward and no one's going to harass me. So there's a lot of context. Yeah. Women drive the majority of our purchases, and it's usually women over the age of 33 is what we see.
Interesting. So, what is your business model exactly? How are you monetizing the app?
Yeah, it's super simple. We charge our customers upfront, and we charge them based on the amount. It's kind of like a delivery time. So if the more time they give us to work with them, the less we charge. Meaning, if someone comes into our queue 3 days before their trip, they pay more than someone that would come into our queue 3 months before the trip.
Hmm.
But then once they come in, then they get assigned a local experience designer, is what we call, and those are the people that we bring into our platform. And then they have access to that local experience designer who will work with them to help them figure out the best experiences based on their travel profile. And they also get access to all the perks that we're bringing in. So right now, we're bringing on a lot of perks around sports, and that's it's because I'm a sports fan. People want to go to Yankees games and basketball games. So yeah, we
Mm.
give them that hookup.
Okay. Are you guys geographically limited right now? Because you have those experienced designers, you can't necessarily be in every city in the world, right? So how does that work?
Yeah, that's right. We are in New York right now, and then we're expanding to DC. That is somewhat by design, I'd say. I am based in New York, and so being here, it gives me an advantage that we can go very deep. I also, I don't come from travel. And so I really wanted to learn this industry. And I think it gets very difficult when you spread yourself and you go very wide and you miss some of those learnings. And so yeah, we locked in on one city by design. We just wanted to make sure we could get it right before we started to expand. But now that we're at this point and we're working through our promotional model, now we know what it takes to launch the second city, and then we do the third and the fourth and like that.
So you talk about the human touch being really important, and obviously you're doing the experienced designers, but you started out as AI driven. So how has that transition happened, and where does AI play a role, if at all, in the app and the company right now?
Yeah. Yeah. So AI still plays a big role. It's just that instead of putting it up front, we put it behind the scenes. And so what we built is an AI powered platform for the experienced designers to help them do their work. And that helps them, the more help we give them, the more customers they can help, like the wider our reach is. And that model really works because it doesn't interfere with human communication. As humans, we don't think, we don't talk linearly, right? We talk like a plate of spaghetti at best, right? Maybe it's a
Yeah.
circle, but we're all over the place, right? But that's what we understand as humans. And sometimes we ask a question and it's not the exact question that we want an answer to. It's like the question behind that question, right? And so there's so much layered context. And that's kind of really what we found. That's really what people want and what they value. And so in our current model, our customers don't have to worry about getting everything right. They can just say, here's what's on my mind. We've had people coming to New York and say, yeah, I want to go to the Eiffel Tower. Like, there's no Eiffel Tower in New York, but we know what you mean. Have to like split hairs on this. But it's little things like that really make the experience unique for our guests.
Do you see AI progressing to the point where it can become one of those experienced designers and start
Yeah,
to understand some of the broader context?
we want, and we built the models so that over time we expect that AI will do a lot more. And that is honestly, the more it does, that's great. That means that we can just support more people. I think there's reality is really what we're seeing is that there's still a role for humans, but humans that have AI support. And so the way I think about it is this platform that we're building, it's kind of like an Iron Man suit, right? So if you think about, so I'm going to nerd out a little bit on some sci-fi, but if you think about like all the stuff that Tony Stark can do just as a regular person, he can run across the street and save one person or save two people. But when he puts this suit on, he can save like 100 people, right? 1,000 people. He's like taking planes out of the sky. He can do all kinds of things. And that's kind of the way we think about this platform is, we want to empower these experts, these local experts who have all this knowledge to do a lot more. Just going back to the beginning of the conversation, right? Back to this plate of spaghetti that I was just talking. But when part of the inspiration for this model is I was thinking a lot about hotel concierges and hotel when you go to a new place, right? A lot of us just you stop by, you ask the concierge a few questions, and they can usually help you. But the concierge is somewhat locked into this like old school Tony Stark model, right? Because you can only interact with that concierge if you stay at a hotel that has a concierge. If when you walk by the desk, the concierge is there and you're able to ask that concierge a question that they know about, right? Meaning if you're in London and you're staying on one end, like don't ask the concierge about something going else, like all the way down in like Wimbledon area, right? They're not going to know. But through these quote unquote, like through this platform and through these suits that we're creating, now we can empower this concierge so that now they can work with anyone. They don't have to be locked into this old model. Anyone that has questions and can reach them, they can provide that assistance. So
Do you see a future where you have separate options for users to choose whether they want to engage with an AI or with a human, and having different pricing tiers for that?
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's all absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, without going into a ton of detail, yeah, that's absolutely what we want and what we see. Um, we have tested when to deploy it in different ways. We have, I mean, long story short is like, yes, we do see a world where like you can come in and maybe your question's very simple. Simple questions should still go to AI. Like, don't even bother sending it to people. And that's what we want. We're right now we're not really getting a lot of those simple questions. So side story is like we just revamped our website a few weeks ago, and we actually have what we call like a free planner where you can organize your day, organize your activities, and figure out your days. And when we first put it out there, it was AI powered, and people used it, but they didn't love it is what we saw. Like they kind of used it and it gave them some information, but they didn't go on and edit. They weren't very engaged with it. And so as we started to, it was like it was over engineered is the kind of what we realized. And so we pulled all the stuff out of it. We even pulled the AI out and we made it very flat and simple. But once we did that, then we saw that people used it more. They used it more. They felt more empowered. And I think when we expose all these different options really just depends on where we are in our maturity curve. Right now, people are still understanding the brand. They're still trying to figure out what we do. And, we just don't see the need for it. But, and we're not getting, it's not kind of helping our goal either. But we do see the world in the future, right? Assuming success, where more people understand what we do, more people are coming in, and then we will put an AI up front. We'll have an AI up front. We have an AI in the back. We have kind of another AI solution that we're looking at. We'll do a few other things. I don't want to give away the entire model, but yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. So where are you at now as a company in terms of size, and what are your goals for, say, the next 12 months?
Yeah, the next 12 months, so we just came out of our product market fit phase, I'm going to say 3 months ago now. So now we're really focused on marketing and promotions, which has been a lot of fun. Over the next 12 months, the plan is to get to Washington, D.C. Now we have a good handle on the model. We understand what it takes. And so Washington, D.C. acts as our proof point of how we copy and paste this into the next city. Yeah, so that's kind of where we'll be in the 12 months.
Yeah, and then hopefully branch out to other cities beyond that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Then it's Vegas. Like we got a whole list. Yeah,
Okay.
Vegas,
Very,
LA. Yeah.
very cool. So when we had originally spoken, you mentioned B2B partnerships as something that you were looking into. Is that still on the table? Is that still something you're thinking about?
It is something that we're thinking about. Yeah, it is something that we're thinking about. B2B partnerships. It's we have partnerships in kind of different avenues. So the partnerships that we're working on right now is all around perks. So right now we're locking down sports, and then we're also talking to some retailers, meaning that like we have discount tickets for different sporting events. In the future, we do see partnerships with hotels and other travel and hospitality businesses.
How has the content creation process been for you? You talk about it, it's fun, but it's also pretty challenging and a lot of work, right?
Yes, it's challenging and it's a lot of work. Yes. It is, it is a learning experience. Again, I think I'm very glad that we're focused on one city because it really like now that we're focused on the promotion and the marketing, I can really see how it all connects. For our industry, again, people are not looking for us. People couldn't care less about us. What they care about is having a great time with this person that they're traveling with, doing the things that they love. And we help facilitate that. And so a lot of our marketing, it's really not about like use this cool thing that we built. Like look, if you're coming to New York and you want to go to a game, here's how you do it. If you're coming to New York and you want to go to a show, here's how you do it. And that's really what our marketing is. And so and we see that it works, right? People are like attracted to that and drawn to that and coming in because of it. And so part of expansion means replicating that message as well, right? But again, that is the fun and the joy and everything.
Yeah, yeah. Well, selling the outcomes, right? That's always the key
The
with
outcomes.
these, the way you're doing.
That's right.
So what would you say is your biggest bottleneck right now when it comes to scaling user growth?
Marketing. I mean, you just said it. Like content's king. Again, especially in 2025. Can't remember if we talked about it on the podcast or before we started, but in this world of AI where people are looking for genuine experiences, getting that message out and really showing that outcome is really important. So I think across the board for all industries, it makes sense to use AI to deliver the outcome and its solution. But, if you're delivering an AI generated outcome or something that looks AI generated, people tend to lose trust. And so we're all looking for these human experiences, but it takes work to put that information out into the world.
Yeah, absolutely. So if a listener hears this and thinks, wow, I'd love to travel like this, what's the best way for them to try out Khonsu right now?
Yeah. So it's very simple. You can go to askkhonsu.com and just enter in your travel dates, create a travel profile, and then we would match you with the best available experienced designer based on your dates and what you're looking for, and we'll take it from there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Robert. I really appreciate it. I think this has really been an interesting conversation, fascinating to learn about the travel industry and what you guys are working towards doing. Can you tell people where they can find you and connect with you?
Yes. Easiest way is on LinkedIn. That's where I am. You can also find us on YouTube, on our brand new YouTube channel, Ask Khonsu.
And to everyone listening, thank you for tuning in. Please be sure to subscribe, leave us a review. And as always, keep pitching, keep building, and keep scaling.
Thanks for the time.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Pitch, Build, Scale. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast provider so you never miss an episode, and we'll see you next time.